it's Robin, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about a thought that I've heard about it a bit, and I think I'm going to give it a try because, so I have this Achilles tendon injury, and since I've had this, I certainly have heard about a lot of other people who have injuries, and I thought this might be helpful to share as a suggestion. So there's a lot to be said for visualization. A lot of people really believe in it, and it's not something that I've spent a lot of time on, but it is something that I've thought about doing. So this time I'm going to actually put it into practice. So I have heard a lot of horror stories about Achilles tendon injuries and recoveries, and people not getting back to normal function even after like a year and a half, or re-rupturing. I've heard a lot of horror stories. So it's a little bit scary. But instead of getting bogged down into the fear of what could happen, I've decided to work on visualizing what I want to happen. And so, is there something to visualization? Well, there is definitely like a connection between your emotions and your body. I mean, let's think about fear. If you are afraid of something, like something scares you, what happens? You have an adrenaline response, right? So that is an actual physical response in your body to the emotion of fear. So there's definitely a connection. And neuropeptides are the chemicals that are released and that are received by your hypothalamus, and then your hypothalamus, decides what to do based on those neuropeptides, and it controls a ton of functions in your body. So there's really something to this mind-body connection. So visualization has been shown to be really effective for athletic performance as well. Like a lot of athletes use it. And I was reading, I can't remember where I read it, but it was recently I read it about people using actual practice or just visualization. And I think the just visualization actually, I can't remember exactly, but there was a strong improvement with visualization and not even actually doing the activity. So there is something, there's just something to be said for it. So I think it's worthwhile trying. So what is visualization? It's basically just imagining something. It's like guided imagery or a creative visualization, focusing your imagination on something that you want to see happen. So for me, it's healing from this tendon injury. For someone else, it might be, lowering your blood pressure, or removing stress from your life, or reducing stress, or improving a relationship. It could be anything that you want to visualize. So you have to define your intention to visualize before you do it. You have to be specific in what you want to achieve with the visualization. So the more specific you are, the better. Make sure it's clear, it's specific, and it's achievable. So, and also make sure that you really truly believe it can happen for you. I do see myself running and jumping and getting back to what I was able to do. I really do see that happening. So I believe that I can recover well from this. And if you have an injury and you don't know enough specifics about the injury to really visualize it, you might just want to do some research into your injury so that you have some more details that you can really visualize. So steps you want to follow is, first of all, it's not something you do once, from what I understand. Wouldn't that be great if you could just do it once and then I could just visualize it and then it would happen in 6 weeks from now or whatever? But apparently that's not the way it is. You have to commit to doing it regularly, and so kind of what I've heard is twice a day is kind of the recommended. I did read about a guy who did it 3 times a day for an hour each time to heal himself from cancer, which he was told was incurable, and he only had a very short time to live. And he did live. It was like 16 years later or something when I read that. So I'm not planning to devote 3 hours a day to it, but I am going to do it first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Because one thing I do know about myself is that to develop a new habit, I have to tie it to something. So if it's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I will probably remember. And then when I get into bed at night, if I do that before I go to sleep, then I will likely remember as well. If I don't have something to cue me to do it, I'm gonna forget. I just know that, I just know that from experience. It's so much easier to develop a habit when you tie it to something. And right now, being in bed with my leg up is kind of the most comfortable position for me, so I think that's where I'll be the most relaxed to do visualization, because it is important to be relaxed. So that's the first, well, the second step. The first step is to commit to doing it regularly. The second step is to relax. So you can do some deep breathing to relax. You can, tighten your muscles and let them relax. Or you can just tell your muscles to relax, starting at your feet and going up to your head. Just focus on relaxing, because it's going to be way easier to visualize once you're relaxed than if you're really tense. Apparently it's important. Works much better. So now you're going to vividly imagine what you want to happen. So I'm going to imagine my body going through the healing process. I am going to imagine myself having completed the healing process, feeling healthy, feeling energized. I'm going to imagine circulation coming to the area of the tendon and moving out that swelling that seems to be an issue with a lot of people. And I'm going to imagine the tendon being very solid and really secure. I'm also going to imagine the tendon lengthening and stretching to give me the length that I need to be able to be functional and do the things that I want to do, and also reduce the risk of re-rupturing. I'm going to imagine myself walking without a limp. I'm going to imagine myself walking without pain. I am going to imagine myself running and jumping without difficulty. I'm going to imagine myself getting back to my normal, active, healthy self and what I was able to do before this, which was quite a lot. I expect to be 100%. That's my expectation. So that's what I'm going to visualize. And if you're having trouble visualizing, I'm going to start this tomorrow, so I haven't tried it yet. So we'll see how it feels. But a few suggestions I read said if you're having trouble visualizing, look up some ideas for visualizations and pick one that resonates with you. And then you can either read it each time, or you can even record it in your own voice. Like my phone has a voice memo thing. I'm sure yours does too. You can record it in your own voice and then follow along with that. While you're doing it, just listen to it and then, have your mind follow along with it. So those are my suggestions for if you want to visualize something. It doesn't have to be healing. It can be anything. For me, I'm obviously focused on healing because that's kind of where I'm at right now. But it can be anything, and it's apparently really effective. So I'm going to give it a try, and if you're going to give it a try, comments and let's compare how it goes. Okay, have a great day.